A study touted as Singapore's largest on parenting intervention aims to strengthen caregiving to improve a child's emotional, cognitive and physical health outcomes. The aim is to recruit over 620 families following a similar and smaller study. Thereafter, policymakers and practitioners will look at the research and potentially carve out actionable programs across the island. Nadine Yong with this report.
When Asher Voon was 4, his mother observed that he often threw tantrums. One possible reason was the frustration he felt at not being able to express himself properly. That's when his mother found out about a study on what's called sensitive caregiving, the ability to detect, interpret, and respond to a child's emotional and behavioral cues, especially when distressed.
I was actually introduced to the program by my son's preschool, and I was interested to join because they shared that I could learn more about child development and also get an opportunity to know my son better. It was also very attractive because the interventions were done in the comfort of my home and at my own convenience. So my husband and I decided to take it up, to learn how we can be more effective parents and caregivers to our sons.
We know that young children face a lot of challenges growing up. They face cognitive challenges, they face socio-emotional or psychological challenges, and even physical health. We know that some of those challenges happen more in lower income groups. And we also know that sensitive caregiving, at least from international work, is really a hopefully preventative mechanism to kind of put kids on a better path.
The pilot study involved 36 families. They were randomly allocated into one of 3 caregiver-focused programs. These are home-based intervention, a digital parenting program, and an e-learning course accessible at any time. The study, titled Loving, will be expanded to 624 families from the median and lower income brackets.
We now look forward to the Loving platform to help us identify what sensitive caregiving interventions work and how we can scale them so that they bring benefits to the wider population. Apart from translating research data and insights into actionable policies and programs, we also need to bring together the community to ensure that our interventions are delivered effectively across the various domains.
These include the family space, in schools, and in hospitals and polyclinics. The expanded study will begin with a 6-month trial, with recruitment starting from 26 May.
And joining me now is Prof. Anne Rifkin-Graboi, who is the lead researcher of the Loving study. And great to have you in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's start with what sensitive caregiving is for our viewers who are not very familiar with it.
Sure. So sensitive caregiving is something that probably most viewers are actually doing already. It's the ability to accurately notice and respond to a child's signals in a way that's timely and individualized to that child, their developmental stage, their context, their personality.
So can you walk us through then the 3 caregiver-focused programs that were mentioned earlier?
Sure. So the first one is a home visiting program. That's what Asher's mommy was taking part in. It's called the VIPP-SD Sing-H. It's an adaptation of a very strong evidence international program that aims to, through video feedback, meet with parents, record behaviors, and then give them tips based on what we already see and help them to encourage more sensitive care and sensitive discipline. The second program is a further modification of that, where we actually have taken videos from people involved in the VIPP-SD Sing-H and turned it into a fully digitalized program where people can watch other people and learn from the tips that we've given them. And then the last program is a neuroeducation program for parents. That one is not directed towards sensitive care. It's what we would consider an active control in research, but we do think that parents may still find it beneficial because it teaches them about child development and brain development more generally.
So what were some of the key findings that came out of the pilot study, and what was some of the feedback you received from the participants?
Sure. So we've actually done a few developmental studies along with the pilot, and the purpose of those was to make sure that our parents in Singapore would find them to be acceptable, feasible, that they thought they were important, that they would stick with them. We have really high retention rates, almost 100%, which is great, given that each intervention is 7 sessions over about six months long. And one of the things that we really felt, what really came through, is that parents seem to want these kinds of programs. They're ready for them. And we even got comments like, please roll it out, we're desperate. So really encouraging in terms of people's interest. And that's the first step to any intervention.
Yeah, and that interest is also reflected in the size of the study. It's said to be the largest on parenting intervention. Why the specific number of about 624 families?
So we're doing a randomized controlled trial. So there have been other intervention studies here in Singapore, but for that particular type, it is, to my knowledge, the largest. And we came up with that number based on looking at the reported effect size, so how big the relationship is between sensitive care and outcomes in other research. And then we did some statistics, something called a power analysis, to find out the minimal sample size that we needed to really feel like when we're done, we're confident that our findings are meaningful and could be replicated.
Yeah. And the target is also median to lower income families.
Yes.
Why that specific group?
So I believe that sensitive caregiving is something that could help all families. But we do know that things like mental health, externalizing problems, so behavioral problems, some academic challenges, even obesity and overweight, are higher in lower income groups here in Singapore and abroad. And we also know that sensitive caregiving is something that also varies with socioeconomic status. That is not to say there are certainly many people of all income brackets who are already doing a lot of sensitive care, but we know that there's greater risk in some of the lower income brackets. And so we really wanted to address that need and help families who are struggling the most.
Yeah, and speaking of that struggle, what are some of the biggest parenting challenges you found, especially here in Singapore, based on your research?
Yeah, so I think that one of the things is that people are really looking for solutions that are maybe more, we've had, one person said, I'm a millennial, I want to do something differently than what my parents did with me. So one thing is just looking for other answers beyond maybe harsh discipline and things like that. We have also had comments that prior to taking part in these programs, parents maybe didn't understand that when their children were with them, they wanted something more than just someone to sit there, someone to play their handphone while they were engaged in play, that they wanted an active partner. So I think time pressure, digital exposure, and just really, some of the same problems that people have had for generations, which is how to connect with my kid when I have all of these other responsibilities. I'm trying to do my best, but I really want to form that solid relationship, I think is just always going to be an issue for people.
Yeah, and how do you think then this study and the result could actually shape the future policies when it comes to parenting or family planning, for example? What kind of impact do you think it could have?
Yeah. So I really hope, I believe that we are doing this research in hopefully a very scientifically valid way. And I hope that that will enable policymakers to look at the results and really feel like what they're getting is evidence-based. And we know that in Singapore, that's a big deal. And that they might then feel like this is something that could be rolled out to families in need. So that's really my dream of how these results could be used.
All right. Professor, thank you so much for sharing about your study with us. I've been chatting with Prof. Anne Rifkin-Graboi from the Yong School of Medicine at NUS.